If you like to support the channel, cash out. And if you like to follow me on any other platform, everything's top of my channel.
Hey yo, hey yo, thanks for tuning into the song. Yo, thanks for tuning into the song.
Info logo.
I am a blood relative of Frederick Douglass. My name is on the family trip. We have a family reunion every 2 years.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
Dr. Umar Johnson has been calling himself a psychologist for over 2 decades. He has been calling himself a kinsman of Frederick Douglass for just as long. And the entire FDMG fundraising campaign, every dollar, every donation, every Breakfast Club appearance, every community rally was built on both of those things being true. So let me ask you something real simple. January 2018, Dr. Umar sat in front of the Pennsylvania State Board of Psychology and defended himself by saying he never claimed to be a psychologist. His exact defense on government record. Family to issue an official public statement, their work.
I don't know what the hell wrong with this phone, bro. This is
Not mine. 100% certainty. He is not a descendant. His name is not on the family tree. The tree is held at the Frederick Douglass National Historic Site in Washington, D.C. The Douglass elders also issued a separate declaration. They called him an unverified disgrace to the family name. His own father took a DNA test. No match.
So that was a lie.
The title was fake. The bloodline was fake. And the school named after a man he is not related to is still empty. Every dollar donated to FDMG went to a man who could not prove worth donating. So December 2017, the Pennsylvania Bureau of Professional and Occupational Affairs filed a formal charge against Dr. Umar Johnson. The charge was white man was threatened by an unlicensed certified school psychologist with an international reputation.
Come on, none of it's true. None of it's true. It's BS. They made it up. They lied.
Rallied his audience around the idea that the system was coming for him specifically. And then he walked into that Harrisburg hearing in January 2018 and made a very specific legal argument. He said he never claimed to be a licensed psychologist. That was his defense. Not that the charges were wrong, not that he had a license they missed. His defense was that he never said he had one in the first place. The board could not strip a license he never held. So technically, he walked out of that hearing without losing anything because there was nothing to lose.
That's
he
smart.
declared victory.
That's smart. That's smart. That's not. That's smart right there, bro. That's
Got it!
that was smart.
Not touching, and his audience believed it because why would you lie? His own defense. He saved himself from the fine by admitting education and
Got it.
After the hearing, the website responded to a doctor of clinical psychology and certified school psychologist who was an expert on the education and mental health of African and African American children. Word for word, nothing changed.
You're showing me how unserious you are.
He was still doing speaking tours, still charging ticket prices built on that credential, still sitting in the Breakfast Club chairs telling the community their children needed his expertise.
Stop the cap. No voice.
Still fundraising for a school that required the audience to trust his professional judgment on Black boys and education. And nobody asked the obvious question. If you just spent a government hearing arguing that you never claimed to be a licensed psychologist,
I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
why does your speaking tour still bill you as a psychological expert?
shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
why are people still sending money to a school run by someone who just legally disowned the credential that made him worth sending money to?
shit, I don't even know. Like,
Was the preeminent psychological expert, boy.
Nothing new, nothing changed, same old.
Two complete.
Stop the cap. No voice. Come on now, dog.
Depending on who.
Come on, man.
What was at stake. The title was only fake when it cost him money. Every other time it was real enough to fundraise with. And the community only ever saw one of those versions. Now let us talk about the name on the school. Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, FDMG. The school for Black boys that was going to change everything. Named abolitionists in American history. Dr. Umar did not just name the school after Frederick Douglass because he admired him. Certain. Probably not. Not we have one family Douglass himself came from issued a separate declaration. They called him an unverified disgrace to the family name. Frederick Douglass, no, not our family, not our bloodline. Not our legacy. And then his own father took an ancestry DNA test. No match to the Douglass bloodline. DNAs, both single child ever walked through the doors of FDG. He kept the name on the school anyway and kept asking the community to fund it. Now I want you to notice something, because this is where it stops being two separate stories and becomes one very clear pattern. 2016, the Frederick Douglass family says he is not their kinsman. His response is to call it a conspiracy, say the white man is threatened by his Pan-African work, rally his audience around forces are trying to discredit him, keep the name on the school, keep funding contractors scamming him, the bank freezing his accounts, the bill
They said the bank furrowed that man account. I was like, do you want to build a snowman? Looking at, stop playing with me out here. Playing with these folk money out here. Cut it out, bro. Watch out, bro.
Unaccountability gets close. A new villain appears.
I mean, it's all right. Like,
but here's what is different about receipts compared to the water bills. These did not come from critics. These lie about him. They used their own. His own father's DNA used his own biology. Every single receipt that dismantles the foundation of Dr. Umar Johnson's brand came from inside his own story, and he ran the same play on all of them. All right, stop for a second, because I want you to go back through everything we just covered and ask one question. Who made the argument that destroyed the credential? Dr. Umar himself, in a hearing under oath, his exact defense. Who made the argument that destroyed the bloodline? The Frederick Douglass family, using their own archived records held at a national historic site, not a blog, not a YouTube channel, a federal archive. Who confirmed the DNA did not match? His own father, the man who started the whole story in the first place. Not one of those receipts came from an enemy. Not one of them came from someone with a political reason to take him down. Not one of them came from the white establishment he keeps pointing at. They came from him, from the family he claimed, from the biology.
Hey, where you tapping in from?
That is what makes this different from every other accountability argument about Dr. Umar Johnson. You cannot call this a hit job. You cannot call this coordinated opposition. You cannot call this the system trying to silence a black man with an international reputation. The man who destroyed the credential was Umar Johnson. The family that rejected the bloodline was the family he claimed. The DNA that came back with no...
I don't know who these people are. Like, who are you, bro? Like, get a life. Go find you a pretty woman to hang up on them.
Match belonged to his own father. 3 receipts, 0 outside enemies. All of it came from inside the story he built, and the community that donated trusted the story more than they checked the receipts. That is not Dr. Umar's fault alone. That is receipts, a budget, a time deliverables, a board record, a nonprofit filing where the money went. None of that ever consistently. Thousands of dollars came in across a decade from real people putting out real phones and sending real money. Why? Because they were not donating to a building. They were donating to a credential and a bloodline. They were donating to the man who said he was a psychological expert on black boys. The man who said history had selected him through his connection to Frederick Douglass himself. The man who said nobody else was qualified to do what he was doing because nobody else had what he had. Credential was hollow enough to disown under oath, and the bloodline was disputed enough for the actual family to issue 2 separate public statements rejecting it. Strip both of those away, and what is left? A man with a building in Wilmington, Delaware that has never taught a single child. A fundraising operation that has run for over a decade without producing audited financials. A school named after a man whose family said he is not related to them. The pitch was always the problem, not just the execution. Because if the credential was real, the Pennsylvania board would have found a license to strip. If the bloodline was real, the Douglass family would not have issued a public statement. If the school was real, a child would have walked through the door by now. None of those 3 things happened, and all 3 of them were knowable before the first dollar was ever donated. The community he told them. The question is why nobody asked him to prove any of it before they opened their wallets. Let me tell you what this video was not about. This video was not about the argument is about what we require before we say yes. Because here's the truth underneath all of this. Dr. Umar Johnson is not the first person to build a brand around black liberation and ask the community to fund it. The strength of a credential and a legacy, he will not be the last. old as the movement. None of this was hidden. None of this required investigative journalism. His own family's DNA. The family. You cannot frame those institutional attacks. You cannot call your own defense testimony a conspiracy. You cannot call the Douglas family's archived records a hit job, and yet the school still has no students. The credential is still on the website. The name of a man he cannot prove he is related to is still on the building. So here's what I keep coming back to. At some point, accountability stops being about one man and starts being about what this side require from the people who ask for our trust. Needed a license number. The bloodline should have needed a document. The school should have needed an audited financial statement. After year one, none of those things are unreasonable to ask. They are just uncomfortable to ask when the person asking you to trust them has wrapped themselves in the symbols of Black liberation.
I'm about to come back. Nah. Hey, I'm about to come back in a second.